If you're dating after 40 and you keep attracting Mr. Unavailable on repeat, and what you really want is lasting love with Mr. Right, you're in the right place. Today, we're talking about something that changes everything in dating: emotional safety. Are you ready? Let's go. Many single women over 40 looking for love are constantly disappointed from chasing after connections that don't go anywhere. Hey, I'm Truly Eleanor. As an intuitive dating coach with 17 plus years experience, I help women trust themselves to choose the right guys to date so they can finally have a loving relationship that feels like home. If you're not subscribed to my channel, make sure you click that button so you don't miss an episode. In season 5, we're talking about emotional maturity and how it becomes embodied in real-time dating. So at this point in the season, you may begin feeling the shift inside yourself, not just understanding healthy love, but recognizing it in your body. Today, our core shift is redefining attraction, moving from anxiety-based chemistry to grounded emotional safety, and recognizing that calm connection is often the foundation of healthy love. I've given the example many times of when maybe you feel like you've been on a roller coaster or you've eaten 5 chocolate bars, and you have that buzzing feeling of what you call attraction. And we often will say, but I'm so attracted to him. It's just like crazy sparks, crazy energy, crazy chemistry. And what it really means is your body is going off, and in terms of your nervous system, is going crazy and saying, I don't feel safe. I feel out of my body. I feel high on adrenaline. And that's what you're feeling. It's not actually a chemistry thing or being attracted to someone. It's your nervous system is being set off with the feelings of not feeling safe, of not feeling grounded, of like alert, alert, abort, abort, all of those signals that we need to be learning how to listen to. And it really has nothing to do with the other person. It could be any kind of memory or trigger that sets it off, where it's like they sound like someone from your past. They remind you of someone. They are dressed in a certain way that brings you back to a feeling where your body is like, oh no, oh no, oh no. And I'm not even saying that it's about the other person. It might be. That's where we get into the nuanced, what's the difference between your intuition and your fear? And you can go back and listen to those episodes. But today I really want to talk about what it means to feel that emotional safety and to get used to it, to say to yourself, wow, this is me feeling safe. And this is me feeling what I previously thought was attracted to this person, but I was actually having a body response, or your intuition was trying to say something. So put it this way, maybe the spark you used to chase was actually nervous system activation. And calm doesn't mean boring. Calm is a sense of being in your full power, in your true self, grounded in that space of being who you are and feeling that connection to someone. Let's imagine right now what it would feel like to be fully empowered, feeling grounded, feeling safe, and then being with someone who helps you to realize that, or helps you to feel even more so. So it's not only feeling grounded and connected to yourself, but in relation to someone else, feeling that way when you're with someone else. And I know from the work I've done personally and in my practice with my clients, a lot of that is being able to be in your body, being able to feel like you are home. That used to be one of my affirmations, is I am home. Go out into the world and look for somebody or relate to other people in a dating scenario and understand what that feels like. It actually feels amazing. So try to close your eyes and imagine yourself feeling calm, connected, in your element, remembering a time where you did feel like that. And then imagine yourself sitting across the table or in a really cute cafe, like Emily Goes to Paris cafe, where you're sitting outside and you're like, oh, this feels so nice. The sun on my face. And then you're sitting across from someone and you're still feeling that way. As opposed to a lot of times we may get into a state when we're with someone, we start to feel that panicky anxiety or the chemistry adrenaline mix. And you're not actually feeling that grounded sensation, feeling that sense of home when you're with somebody else. That's the sweet spot. To go over the obvious here, we may not feel familiar with emotional safety at first. You might have had experiences growing up or unsafe relationships where you have not felt that sense of emotional safety. So it could feel weird when you meet someone and you're like, well, I'm still feeling like myself and I'm still feeling good and I'm with somebody else. This is really weird, but it's a good weird. And I want to support you in trusting that quieter feeling of secure attraction. Go back and think about some dates where you felt like you're really at home within yourself and you felt calm and stable and grounded, and then you were with someone. Did you label it as boring? Did you label it as, oh, I'm not attracted to this person? I'm just, I don't feel anything? Was it really that? Or was it the fact that you actually felt really good and emotionally safe with that person? I don't want you to start to feel uncertain about the way you've been feeling in the past. I just want you to tune into that and figure out if maybe that was the case. If it wasn't, that's totally fine. We're moving forward. Just want to give you a reflective moment there to see if any of that hits home for you. Today's identity shift is going from the woman who equates chemistry with that emotional intensity to the woman whose body recognizes safety, presence, and steadiness as attraction. Because I want you to reframe your belief system here and say, well, I used to believe that I have to feel that chaotic sense of energetic friction and believing that that means that you're meant to be with this person, or that means that that person is really energetically a match for you, as opposed to the new belief system, which is that means the exact opposite. And perhaps that's why you've been stuck in a pattern of attracting emotionally unavailable guys. And so we have to go back to what we used to believe and start to dismantle it so that we can have new experiences and start to move towards those new experiences, even if they feel unfamiliar. And I know because you're here with me listening to this podcast, you're very open to reflection, you're open to journaling. I know you're going to do really great with this. What happens when you go from that anxious chemistry to grounded connection and from that emotional high to emotional safety? The result is that dating begins to feel calmer and clearer, and you have that clarity in the moment. And that's what we've been talking about the last few episodes is doing things in real time and making those decisions in real time and connecting with yourself in real time. So emotional availability starts to feel natural instead of unfamiliar. Can you imagine that? Love begins to feel possible and sustainable. We're breaking through all of those beliefs where you're just like, this is never going to happen for me. I don't feel like I understand any of this. I feel like I've been shaped in such a different way that I'm never going to figure this out. And I want you to know that you can overcome these beliefs. You can say, well, that's been in the past and that's okay. I am aware of it. And now I'm going to accept the fact that I did have those beliefs and connect to myself for a forward momentum experience where I am with myself and connected to my true desires and moving forward in this feeling of grounded emotional safety. Let's talk about a scenario. Say you meet a man who communicates clearly and shows consistent interest. There are no mixed signals, no guessing, but instead of feeling the familiar adrenaline rush, you notice something new. You feel calm. And at first you question it, like, where's the spark? And then you realize your body isn't bracing for disappointment. You finally feel safe. And imagine that for a scenario. Wouldn't that be amazing? I'm going to run this episode through my Let Love In method. And if you're familiar with me, you can follow along because we know we start with a true awareness, then we move into true acceptance, and we finish off with true connection. And we can go back and forth between these three pillars, of course, but we always start with the awareness. And if you need a little more acceptance for yourself, you need a little more connection for yourself, that's wonderful. You can go back and forth between those two, but we always want to start with the true awareness of whatever it is we're talking about. Today, we've been talking about that feeling of emotional safety. And for many women, chemistry has always meant intensity, uncertainty, and emotional highs and lows. It's that sense of having to work for something, having to chase it. And that is why my podcast is called Stop Chasing Unavailable Guys, because that is the old pattern. But that's what you're familiar with maybe at this point. But what happens when your body starts choosing something different? What happens when safety becomes the new attraction? Imagine again what that would feel like, having a safe, grounded, connected feeling where you don't have to chase after anyone. You don't have to effort. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to make yourself worthy of the love. It's just there, and the connection is there, and the person is showing up fully as themselves, ready to connect with you. That's what it's like to have that sense of the grounded, devoted connection. So, as we run through our framework here, we've got true awareness. We're recognizing the difference between this anxiety chemistry and emotional safety. You can plug in different dates into this scenario to see if you have experienced this before, if you've been connecting those dots and saying, oh, well, I actually always did think that when I was feeling very chaotic or when I was feeling very frantic, that was because my body was going crazy with this nervous system response, or it was feeling like adrenaline. And the scenario I like to use is that, having like 6 chocolate bars, like how do you feel after you've had 6 chocolate bars? You are buzzing. Maybe that feeling is what you've equated to love in the past. Okay, I'm feeling that anxious chemistry. I must be attracted to him. Check. Well, now we're dismantling that and you're recognizing that there is a difference. And what you actually want is that you're able to express your true self while you're with this person. As soon as you realize that you can't be yourself and you have to start doing all kinds of things and doing some mental and emotional gymnastics to be with the person to feel like you can connect with them, that's already meaning that you are not actually feeling safe. Next part is moving into the true acceptance, allowing the calm connection to exist without needing intensity to validate that attraction. So can we move into the fact that in the past, that's okay, that's what you've been experiencing, that's been your belief system, it's totally fine, but now I'm going to allow that new feeling to embrace me. I'm going to see what that's like. And if you can't do that with dates yet, you can start practicing with yourself. What does it feel like when I feel emotionally safe? Journal prompt is, how do I know I feel emotionally safe? And then write out some things so that you can actually recognize it for yourself. It's going to be different for everybody, what makes you feel emotionally safe and what it feels like to be emotionally safe. So there's 2 distinctions. In what scenarios and what situations do I usually feel emotionally safe? And what does it feel like in my body to be emotionally safe? And then work with those 2 things. The last part of the framework is going to be true connection, staying present with someone who shows up consistently. And I've talked many times in my past episodes about how I just wanted to run for the hills when I met my husband, and I felt completely out of body and weird because he was showing up, because he was fully present and he was there to listen to me. And I was like, oh my God, he's here to listen to me. And then I wanted to run because it was like, what if he doesn't want to hear what I have to say? What if he doesn't like the way I am? What if he doesn't like it when I express myself? I had to work through those different things to actually stay present with him. And another part of the connection can be chemistry can evolve when safety is present. So you may need that time to get used to it. You may feel the deeper and deeper examples of emotional safety. If this is unfamiliar to you, you're not going to immediately be like, oh yeah, I feel 100% safe. Everything is cool. You might have some situations where you feel unsafe within yourself. And I'm not talking about an actual dangerous situation. We always want to be aware of that. But I'm talking about feeling a little bit off or feeling a little bit vulnerable or feeling like, well, when he asked me about this certain thing, I felt really thrown off. And then you can go back into your journaling after the date and say, okay, post assessment of the date and do a bit of journaling, like what did actually throw me off? And then next time you can be more aware of that and more accepting of that and more connected to yourself in those situations. Another thing around the true connection, your nervous system can learn a new definition of attraction. So once you start to get used to it and say, well, now I'm feeling more and more and more comfortable, I'm feeling more in tune with what emotional safety means for me. It's like you're forging a new path in your body. You're forging a new path of connection to yourself where you have this new definition of what attraction means when it is safe. And secure love often begins very quietly, very subtly, this feels very secure and I feel very good about myself when I'm around this person and I feel wonderful and I really want to connect with them more. It might be a quiet shift as that happens, so be watching out for that. The last part is becoming unavailable to unavailable men means recognizing when calm connection is actually the right signal. So we want to be aware. Now we know we're accepting of our past and we're connecting to ourselves and we're saying, well, this is what I actually want. I want to feel this embodiment. I want to become unavailable to the chemistry in terms of the chaotic feeling of the nervous system and adrenaline. I don't want to be available for that anymore. And I want to actually recognize that when that's happening, it's actually not right for me. And I'll remind you again, if you've heard me say this, that if you are getting a signal where you're feeling unsafe, where things feel chaotic, or it feels like adrenaline is pumping and you've got that anxious, energetic kind of spark that doesn't feel safe, it doesn't necessarily mean the person is bad. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's anything wrong with them. It just means that your body is signaling you to something that needs your attention and that your body is saying, well, this isn't right for me. And whatever reason that is nobody else's business. It's your business. It's your intuition. It's what you're working on. You cannot override your intuition or your body or your nervous system or your heart when you're trying to make something fit, when you're trying to force it into place, because, we do that for many different reasons. Maybe we say, well, this is just me and my issues, so I'm going to just force and push and override my system because this is silly or this is ridiculous or this guy seems awesome or he's perfect and I don't need to be doing this. I'm sabotaging myself, all that stuff that we get into and start spiraling around in circles. What I want you to know is there's a reason for that, and it doesn't necessarily have to have anything to do with that person. You're not labeling them as bad. You're not judging them. You're saying there's something I need to address within myself, and there's something I need to take care of, care for myself, connect to myself, and I'm going to step away from this connection. I'm going to not go on any further dates with this person at this time. And when I do connect to myself and see what's going on, maybe I'm going to realize it is the person and maybe I'm going to realize it's not. But then you're going to make a decision. Once you're feeling better, am I going to reunite with this person or try another date? And that's totally up to you. That's where you're figuring out, is this worth my time to try this again? You could always do an experiment if you have the energy and the capacity for it. Do a little experiment, do some work on yourself. Go back to the episodes where I talk about actual healing and taking care of yourself. And then, say, well, let's try it again. Let's go out for coffee. If you feel that same sensation, even after you've done the work, then I would recommend that you keep going, that you move on to somebody else because there's a reason for it. And we don't want to override our own GPS, our own intuitive system. It's there for you. It's there to help you to find what you truly desire. It's there to help you to find a relationship you're looking for. So why would we want to override that? That's my question. Why would we want to override that? If this idea of emotional safety being the new chemistry is resonating with you, I created something to help you deepen the shift. It's called the Magnetic Love Bundle, and it includes guided meditations designed to release fear, reset your energy, and help you become more magnetic to healthy, emotionally available partners. And you can find it in the show notes if you're ready to start feeling safer and more open in love. My closing words here: emotional safety is not the absence of attraction. It is the foundation of lasting love. Your body is learning a new language of connection. And when safety becomes chemistry, love finally feels like home. And remember, you can't make Mr. Unavailable love you, but you can choose someone who does. And love is closer than you think. Next week is episode 56, How to Stay Open Without Losing Yourself.